back for more then, Commander? In this particular lesson, we'll be going over some of the more advanced play mechanics that will separate the men from the boys. From earlier lessons, you should be aware of the Allied spy and some of his capabilities by now. Spies can disguise themselves as enemy units. Only scout units, the Allied attack dog, Soviet war bear, and Imperial burst drone can detect disguised enemy units. Spies and Imperial shinobi can also infiltrate enemy structures. When you infiltrate a structure, it'll impair your enemy's base in various ways, which should give you the upper hand. For example, if you infiltrate that enemy reactor, the entire base will power down for a while. Go ahead and infiltrate the instant generator by right-clicking on it whilst your spy is selected.
Like my new look? I'll see what I can do. Watch out for scouts.
Excellent, Commander. By infiltrating their generator, you've brought down their entire base's power, which in turn powered down their base defenses. That will certainly make it easier to destroy their base, stupid robots. Oh no! It appears the Empire of the Rising Sun is sending in a force to destroy your tanks. You'll need to retreat your tanks back to your base. A clever way of doing that is to reverse move them back to your base. This will allow them to continue attacking those enemy units while retreating to a safer location. To reverse move your units, select them and press the D key on your keyboard.
Ready?
Notice how your cursor changed. Right-click on the target destination near your construction yard to order your tanks to retreat. Another benefit of reverse moving is that it keeps a unit's stronger front armor facing the enemy. Most vehicles are more vulnerable from the rear and flanks, so when you retreat from enemies using a normal move command, you'll turn tail and take more damage. Reverse moving allows your unit's stronger front armor to take the brunt of the fire.
Good job, sir. Your units made it back and were able to whittle down those enemy tanks health enough for your base defenses to finish them off. Had you issued a normal move order back to your base, your Guardian tanks might not have fared as well. Incidentally, should the enemy catch you off guard with an attack, listen for audio cues from your intel officer and visual cues on radar to tip you off. To jump to the most recent radar event, just hit the spacebar.
Enemy commander.
Or to get back to your main base from anywhere in battle, tap the H key. Oh, pants! It looks like the Empire is sending another attack wave, but this time they've come at us with infantry. Your base defenses are strong against infantry, but with that many of the blighters, I don't think it's going to be enough. So, a good way to dispatch large quantities of infantry is to crush them with vehicles. Not all vehicles can crush infantry, so it's good to familiarize yourself with the ones that can. Small vehicles like your IFVs and Riptides are examples of vehicles that can't crush. On the other hand, larger vehicles like Guardian tanks and assault destroyers can crush a man like so many potato crisps. What's more, some of the largest vehicles in Red Alert 3 are big enough to crush other, smaller vehicles. Anyhow, let's crush those robots.
Wait! You may wish to assign your tanks to a control group first. This is an important way of managing your forces. To assign units to a control group, select them, then hold the control key and press a number key. Do this now, please.
Could we be of help, sir?
Good. You may now select those units at any time by pressing the corresponding number key. You can also jump to the group by double-tapping the key. Now please proceed with crushing my robots.
Thought you'd never ask. To crush enemy infantry, select your Guardian tanks and issue a move order behind the enemy infantry. You can also issue a force move command using the G hotkey or using the Advanced Commands tab near the bottom of the screen. Issue a move command to the designated location with your tanks now.
We'll be on our best behavior.
Seeing as how that Rising Sun base seems intent on taking us down, let's go over some ways to get your units to protect your base without being drawn out by the enemy. All of your units can be set to different stances, which affect their behavior. All units start off in guard stance, meaning they will auto-acquire enemies that come within their attack range and pursue them for a short distance if they try to flee. Once the dust settles, your units will return to their original positions. We need to have some of our units on defense for our base, but not pursue our enemies. To do this, we need to put them into hold ground stance. First, select one or more of your tanks. Now click on the Advanced Commands panel in the bottom right of your screen next to the unit portrait. As you can see, this panel reveals some additional controls for your units. Select the Hold Ground button to change your unit's stance.
Guardian tank at your service.
Simple as that, you've just changed your unit's stance. Keep in mind that no matter what stance your units are in, any orders you issue will always be followed. Stances will only affect how units behave when not under your direct control. Now, take 3 Guardian tanks, not counting our field instructor, and move one to each of the designated locations and put them into a hold ground stance.
What's on the agenda? You heard the boss.
Perfect. What say we also set up some base defenses? Each faction has a couple of its own base defenses. The Allies have multi-gunner turrets, for example. Select the Support Structures tab in the sidebar, build a multi-gunner turret, and place it near your tanks. Multi-gunner turrets change weapons if you put different infantry into them, though the rocket launchers they use by default should be handy in most cases.
You can also build walls from your support structures queue. To do so, build and place one wall segment, then build and place another along the same row as the first. You'll see the build grid show green to indicate where you can form a solid wall. Careful though, each wall segment costs you, so longer walls are more expensive. Walls are useful for blocking smaller forces like those pesky engineers, always trying to steal your structures. Go on and try building a solid wall at the front of your base.
Capital! Now if the Rising Sun attacks, we'll have some extra defenses waiting for them that they won't be able to draw away from our base. And here they come. As you can see, they've decided to retreat back to base, but your Guardian tanks stood their ground and didn't continue after them. Had your Guardian tanks followed them back, they most likely would have been destroyed by the Empire's own base defenses.
Yes, the Empire's base defenses are quite impressive. You may need to use combined arms to defeat them. In fact, if you depend overmuch on just one or two types of units, you are bound to fail. Thankfully, it is easy to manage multiple types of units at once. Try selecting all your combat forces on the battlefield using the Q key. Good. Notice you have multiple unit types in the contextual tab in your sidebar at right. One type of unit in your group will always be selected. To cycle between unit types, simply tap the tab hotkey. Try this now. Switching unit types in this fashion makes it easier to use your mixed group special abilities without deselecting the group. We should also briefly touch on waypoint mode for its useful. Waypoint mode lets you queue up move or attack orders. To use waypoint mode, hold the Alt key while issuing move or attack orders as normal with units selected. Your units will complete the orders in sequence. Now, earlier we had mentioned how directional armor comes into play during battles. Another type of armor bonus your units can receive comes from an automatic reaction to enemy fire called suppression. Suppression only affects infantry units. When infantry units become suppressed, they go prone on the ground and continue firing. Suppressed infantry are slower, but more resistant to damage. Send your infantry into that city square there and attack that garrison structure.
What's up, Coach? Javelin on deck. What's up, Coach? Go, go!
Banzai! As you approached the structure, your units came under enemy fire, and some of them were suppressed as a result of the enemy attacks. Due to this suppressed position, your units could absorb more damage and in turn deal more damage to that enemy structure, allowing them to destroy it.
Oh! What was that for?
That was for my robots.
Well, good job, Commander. You now know some of the advanced tactics that'll surely make you a worthy adversary on the battlefield. And would you believe it, there are still more advanced tactics and commands for you to learn. Just dig into the options screen for a complete command list. But do that on your own time. This lesson's over, and there's only one more left. We're heading over to it now. Finally, the last lesson. Feels good to be almost finished, eh, Commander? Let's get started. In this lesson, you'll learn how to work with your co-commander to help achieve victory on the battlefield. You'll be working with a co-commander throughout the campaigns in Red Alert 3. You can fight alongside a friend, or if you don't have any friends, the game will provide one for you. No matter which campaign you're playing, your co-commander's forces will always be green. In general, you can expect your co-commander to do a halfway decent job of fending for him or herself or helping you out. But just in case, we've set up a handy-dandy interface for you to issue specific directives to your partner. In the upper left hand of your screen is the co-commander monitor. Unfortunately, this won't let you control your real friends, but it's useful when fighting alongside one of the game's co-commanders.
Now, let's go over all the functions. First and foremost, there's a handsome image of your co-commander to remind you who you're fighting alongside. For this tutorial, you'll be fighting alongside the fresh-faced Soviet Commander Oleg.
Commander, Comrade Oleg here. I trust you're enjoying the banality of this training lesson. Hurry up and learn what you need to, so we can get to the real thing.
Right next to his portrait are the various directives you can issue. Basically, you can boss him around. The first is take position, which causes your co-commander to immediately send his available forces to a target location. To issue this directive, select the Take Position button. Then move your cursor over the battlefield and left-click again in the target area. Go ahead, please.
I'm sending him over now.
New objective received.
Good. Notice how Oleg promptly responded by sending his forces to the position you requested.
Now, the next directive is Strike Target. This directive makes your co-commander immediately send available forces to destroy that target, and anything nearby. Much like last time, to issue a Strike Target directive, you must first select the button, then move your cursor over an enemy and left-click on it. Issue a Strike Target directive on that enemy boot camp.
I got this one.
New objective received.
Give me a harder challenge than that.
Objective complete.
That is how we do it in Russia. Notice how Oleg immediately responded with his forces. Another option is to use the Plan Attack Directive. This directive makes your co-commander build a good-sized force to eliminate any enemy units in the target area, as well as any enemies encountered along the way. As with the others, to issue a Plan Attack Directive, just select the button, then select the target enemy or location on the battlefield. Go ahead and use Plan Attack on the other side of that valley.
Our ally is under attack.
See that? Your co-commander's always got your back, Commander. Lastly, let's go over the Keep Command Directive. This one makes your co-commander fend for him or herself, and he or she will always do so by default. Unlike the other directives, this one does not require you to select a target, and may be used to cancel the other directives. To issue this directive, simply select the Keep Command button.
Just let me know.
Now then, we have one final type of directive to review.
Enemy base detected. Objective complete.
During the course of some missions, you will come across what we call co-commander strikes. These are situational tactics your co-commander will use when given the signal. Notice how one has just appeared on the battlefield. Co-commander strikes may appear anywhere, anytime during a mission, and it's yours to decide how best to use them. Let us examine that co-commander strike more closely.
To give your co-commander the signal to execute the strike, select it. This brings up a window explaining the strike. To confirm the tactic, select the Execute button. Go ahead and give your co-commander the signal now.
New objective received.
On that note, great job, Commander. You now have the know-how to work with your co-commander. As you can see, your co-commander can help you do some of the heavy lifting. Now get out there and knock some heads together. Go on, what are you waiting for? A fancy ending with a sappy montage? As for you, boys, the truce is off!
Finally, you jerks!
Shut up!